Hello! Is anyone out there yet? Let me see. Hello! I'm doing my live virtual party for my podcast launch today. And if anybody got to see it, I'm hoping people will give me comments and feedback and tell me what they thought about it. And let me know what kind of subjects you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, any suggestions for the types of interview you want to see. I have a couple interview people, people who want to interview with me. There's the Nevada NAEYC coach. Hi, Amber. And she's also the QRIS coordinator for Nevada. They are all wanting to come on to talk on the podcast. And I also have a business coach up in Canada that will be featured. The other person who I'm really excited to interview for the podcast is my business advisor. My business advisor has really changed my preschool around. She really taught me how to take control of my processes, my staffing, and how to take the business and make it successful, which is a lot of what I want to give back to you guys. So I'm going to have her on a couple times. So if you guys were able to listen today, what did you think? Any suggestions, any tips, any recommendations, or any suggestions for what you guys would like to see? Just type it into the comments if there's any suggestions you guys have for me. I know, Alana, you listened to it. Do you have any suggestions or anything you liked in particular? I know that third recording, the audio kind of went in and out, so I will get better at that, I promise. I'm going to really work on the audio quality, but content is what I'm really looking for. Like, what kind of things do you guys want to hear? The episode I haven't published yet, but I've recorded, is about employee retention, just helping owners and directors learn how to keep their staff. And interesting story about that. I felt like I wasn't having the best employee retention myself. I just kind of, every couple of years, it seems like I have this fluctuation in employees that I just have a couple that leave me all at once. And this was one of those years. And so I just kept thinking like, gosh, my employee retention isn't that great right now. But our QRIS coach actually asked me to do an episode on employee retention. And when I said, are you sure you want me talking about employee retention right now? I feel like I have awful employee retention. She told me that out of the 25 centers she works with, we have the best retention. And even though we've lost a couple of people, she said that because my average staff member has been with me for quite a few years, she said we're still doing better than most places. And she was actually telling me that most centers, almost all their staff turns over in 6 months to a year. And I could not believe that. That just totally shocked me, since even with a bit of the turnover I've experienced lately, I'm still doing pretty well. My average staff has still been with me for about 5 years. So that was kind of a nice change. So just from my thinking, I was thinking we were not doing great at all. So I've been looking at that, and I just kind of studying to see what is it that keeps my staff with me, and I am doing a whole episode on that. I actually already recorded. And did any of you guys listen to the episode I did on when it's time to let employees go? That one was my first priority because that's more in my forefront. Sometimes I think my employee retention is too good, and I need to let them go sometimes instead of holding on so tight. Oh, I see Liza. Hi, Liza. Hi, Kinsey. So if any of you guys have any suggestions or anything, you can message me and let me know. Or if you have any good suggestions for some people I'd like to interview. Liza, I would love to interview you as a speech pathologist. I think you would be fantastic on the podcast, just giving us that perspective of what should we be focusing on with infant toddlers and preschoolers when it comes to the podcast, just on what should we really be focusing on speech. So Liza, if you have any recommendations, and I'll schedule a time to interview you. Let's see, Amber, you haven't gotten that far. Oh, good. You like it so far. I know the first one's just an introduction telling you guys about me and why I'm talking about this. So letting you guys know why I decided to do this. But I think and then the vision and the mission one is just main reason I wanted to start off with talking to you guys about vision and mission is that was really the major changing point for my center. When I really nailed down that vision and that mission statement and I gave it back to my staff, that's really when things started to change for my business. And I think that's when we really turned that corner. And I realized that we are not a daycare, we're a preschool. And I really just started to get really into just having a better business altogether. So let's see. Amber says, it is just the business aspect that doing your podcast. No, I'm not going to only do business. I am going to focus a lot on business, but I really want to focus on quality. Quality is probably my biggest passion. And I use my business advisor, so I will talk a lot about that. But I really want to focus on bringing up quality. My main goal is to let directors and owners out there know that it is possible to have a very high quality center and turn a profit. And for many years, I didn't think that was possible. So I want to show you guys tips and techniques on how you can still have a NACE accredited center. And for those of you who don't know, my center actually scored high enough to have 5 stars through the QRIS Silver State Stars. So just how you can do that and negotiate being able to still make money. So if you're a director, that's important for you to know for your owner. And I can tell you guys, I don't know if I have published the podcast yet, but there's one that I talk about where my owner's brain and my director's brain are a lot of times at odds with each other. So it's kind of how I find that balance between running a classroom, running a center, and being an owner. So Amber, in that sense, it's probably going to go back and forth between being an owner and a director and just a lead teacher altogether. And I'm probably going to interview some of my teachers too, who are willing, and I'm sure Alana will probably be one of them. And also Brandy, I have promoted to my director, so I'll interview her too, just so we can get different perspectives on there. Let's see, Liza, do you have a podcast discussing developing a business plan and going through the steps? No, I'm not going to get that deep into actually developing it on the podcast, but I will be offering coaching sessions and I will be doing webinars on things like that. So the podcast, I'm going to keep more of overviews and tips and tricks that people can put into practice immediately. But the actual really getting into business planning, I'm going to do more on a consulting basis. And I'm actually partnering with my business consultant, Christine, who is just a business genius. She's the one who really taught me everything I know. And you guys, I'll tell you, I worked with Christine every Thursday for almost 4 years. For an hour a day, she just coached me and taught me how to be a business person. So she's helping me make it specifically for early childhood education so that we can streamline processes and do things like employee counseling, hiring, I don't know, we're teachers in this industry. We're usually not business people. So my goal is to help us become successful business people. Liza, your question, will I be doing one-on-one? Yes, I will be doing one-on-one. I'm actually already doing one-on-one consulting with a couple people. A couple of the counties in Nevada have hired me. So now I'm taking it to the public. I've been doing it more for government agencies. But I am going to be doing it one-on-one also. And I'll be doing it virtually, and I'll also be doing it webinar style. I'm going to be opening up in January very limited spaces on webinars for maybe like 5 people at a time, so that we can have discussions, meet weekly, and it's going to be a lot more intense. I really want to help other directors and owners there get control of their staff and their process and their program. So that'll be much more intense and one-on-one. And for the people who can't always afford to do one-on-one, I want to make it more affordable. So we're going to do like 5 together at one time. And I also think that'll be helpful because we can bounce ideas off each other. We're all doing the same thing and have the same struggles. So when we get that hive mindset going, I think we can really help each other out. Let's see. Alana asks, how about mentoring staff or the new hire? Alana, do you mean like, will I be teaching directors how to mentor staff and new hires? Or will I be doing that for staff and new hires? So I'll answer actually both of those questions. What I'm going to be doing, I'm starting a new hire training. I have a new hire training I have right now. And lately I haven't been happy with it. And you know, Alana, by the way, has worked for me for 11 years. She is my assistant director. And she knows I change everything all the time. I'll put something out and everybody thinks it's great. And then I'm like, okay, I don't like it anymore. We got to change it now. So I am working on a new hire training that I think is going to be much better. And I will be actually, any of the directors that I work with, I will be training them on how to use that. And so just a side note, my husband he started dialysis yesterday, which is really rough, but the training that they put out for teaching us what to do and how to do it is phenomenal. So I've actually been taking notes, and I'm going to use a lot of those training ideas. And that's why I'm switching up my new hire training. So it is so easy to understand. I mean, it is so clear as day. And right now I have a training where my lead teachers will work with my new teachers. And basically every day they have a list of questions for about 30 days and different topics they have to go over. Well, this training that I've been doing at the dialysis center everything is in pictures. And they also have short videos about everything. So that's how I'm going to be changing mine up, by the way, Alana. So I will be starting a module on that where I can teach directors that. And yes, I'll be training you on that, Alana, since you're going to have to be using a lot of that. But that's something I've really wanted to get better because it's hard on teachers to train. So Amber, that's something that you can use. It's really hard to be a trainer. And so I've been working for a couple of years on streamlining that process, and the training we have right now is really good, but I think we can make it better. So I'm going to make that better. So what else would you guys like to learn about for any of the other directors or owners out there? I know the biggest thing I've seen is just employee retention. And even if you're just a lead teacher out there, employees, it sucks when you have to go through a lot of assistants, right? So just techniques on keeping people happy. And one of the biggest things I hear in our field is, well, we can't afford to pay enough. And I can tell you guys, there's ways around that. There are things we can do to keep employees without being able to afford to pay them. So I'll talk a lot about that with you guys, about just what are the stuff we can do when we can't afford to pay anymore. I mean, I think we would all love to pay more, but we know our field is not very lucrative. Even if you're an owner, we don't make that much money. So I'll go into that a lot. Let's see. Oh yes, Amber, how to get people to understand that we are not glorified babysitters. That is one of my biggest passions. And the reason I named my company the Childcare Business Professionals, because it is so important that we see ourselves as professionals and that we start telling the world that we are professionals. So that is exactly why I chose that name for my company, because we are professionals. We work really hard. We have one of the hardest jobs out there and one of the most rewarding jobs. And the public needs to see us as professionals, but before that's going to happen, we need to see ourselves as a profession first. So that is one of my biggest goals, is to help change that mindset, and so that we start seeing ourselves as professionals, and that we start really acting like it and raise the bar for ourselves. And most of you guys that are on here are usually, you're seeking out that information, you want to learn, you want to better yourself. So you're already living that life of being a professional. So yeah, that is definitely something. And that's something I advocate for too. I mean, I don't know if you know, Amber, but I do a lot with, I started last year working with the Nevada legislature, and I do a lot of different volunteer work for the state. And that's one of the reasons I do it, is I really just want to advocate for our profession. So I think our world of ECE is really in the forefront. We are really ahead of the game when it comes to just developmentally appropriate practices and best practices, and the quality of what we do is a lot better a lot of times than K through 12. So if you look at how we rank worldwide, the ECE in the United States ranks higher than K through 12 does compared to the rest of the world. So that's something we, I think, deserve a lot more recognition with. Let's see, Liza, I request that you include a podcast regarding how you work with or are in contact with early intervention. That's a great idea. I haven't thought about doing an episode on that, but you know that I am very involved with early intervention, and I have occupational therapists in my center almost, we have 3 or 4 a week come in. And it is extremely important. And my background is in neurological psychology, so I'm always looking at brain development, and that is a huge priority for me. So I absolutely agree with that. And part of the reason I think, Liza, you would be a great guest, because you could talk a lot about your job as a speech pathologist, and how it's a good idea for center directors and owners to welcome therapists into their centers. I would love to get a hold of pretty much every kind of therapist I can. So, hey, Liza, you can hook me up with that. Different people we can interview, just so that directors aren't afraid to welcome these people into their centers. It is amazing what they can do for us and how much they can teach us. Let's see, also with state related to foster and children. Yeah, that's another one I could do. We have that's kind of a sore subject for us right now. It's been a struggle. For those of you who don't know, my center cares for several foster children. And that's one of my biggest passions, is to make sure that all children have the opportunity for high quality care, regardless of their income or their social status. So we do care for quite a bit of foster children, but sometimes that can be really, really tolling emotionally, and definitely fulfilling. At the end of the day, I think some of my best wins and what keeps me going sometimes are just those great stories we see come out of the foster system. But sometimes it's really challenging also. So I can definitely maybe I can even interview some foster parents so they can tell you why it's so important. I can tell you guys my favorite story I have, and the reason I care for foster children. A few years back, I was going through a lot, and I had 2 centers at the time, and neither of them were making money, and I was just working a ton. And I remember driving from one, which was an hour away from my hometown, and I'm driving to my other one, which was the one I was at the director of. And, I'm a very religious person, and I was literally praying like, God, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this anymore. This is exhausting me. I don't want to be an owner anymore. I don't want to be a director anymore. I want to quit. I don't want to do this. And I came into my center, and I literally sat in my parking lot, and this story always makes me tear up, but and I just basically prayed, God, before I go into that building, please show me if I'm supposed to be here, because right now I don't feel like this is for me anymore. I can go get a job and make six figures. And here I am working for free. Just show me if this is what I should be doing. And I went inside, and one of my teachers who's worked for me for, gosh, years, brought me this infant, and she handed me this infant. And I swear, you guys, I had not even been in my building for 1 minute yet. And she said, just in case you forgot why you're doing this, I thought you should know this is a foster baby who had been left in a hospital in Las Vegas. And keep in mind, you guys, we're like 9 hours away from Las Vegas here. And she said, this is a foster baby who had been left in a hospital in Las Vegas. Her mother is a meth addict and just left her there. And nobody would foster this baby because she was a crack baby, basically. But there was a family in our hometown who was willing to take her. But this family could not afford childcare. They couldn't afford the co-pays, the difference between what our state subsidy pays. But since our center waives co-pays for foster children, this baby now has a home. And that's a tough story for me, because I was a day that I was literally ready to quit. And when she brought me that baby, I just realized, I was like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. This baby would still be sitting in a hospital. And oh gosh, Alana, I don't remember how old she was at the time, but I know she'd been there for weeks. And like, if I wasn't doing this, she would still be in a hospital and she wouldn't have a home. And that family actually went on to adopt that baby and her brother, it turned out. So that was just like a huge moment for me. And that was the turning point, I think, for my business, when I decided to hire the business consultant and changed everything. So fast forward, gosh, I don't know, it's been years now. And now I'm a thriving business owner who's learned how to not only balance that, I can still do that charity work I love to do. I can still run a NACI quality center, and I'm making money now. So that's really what I want to help others out there to learn. I don't want you guys to be in that position where you want to do what's best for these kids, but you feel like you can't run quality and make money and know how to manage a staff. And I mean, sometimes as a director and an owner, it is just overwhelming. And it just seems like, you want to ask yourself, why am I doing this? I'd make more money if I quit and did something else. So that is my main goal, is just to help other caregivers out there too, just to get the encouragement to keep persevering, and it does get better. And we can make it better. That's when we really learn and have the tools. And I think by building a community together, we can really help each other out too. So what other questions you guys have for me now that you heard my sad story? Any other sad stories out there, you guys? Any inspirations that you use to keep you going every day when there's days that you just want to quit? Liza, I bet you have. I know you're not in. Liza used to work for me, but now she has since graduated with her master's degree, and she does speech pathology now. So I know, Amber. See, Amber, you need to come work for me. One day. We'll figure it out. But yeah, and see, you guys, for those of you who run centers, that's why my employees stay with me. That is once I really nailed that on that vision, that really comes down to the fact that what we do means so much more than how much we make, right? We can see the change in these children's lives. Like, we have one little girl who's 4 now, but she started with us when she was, Alana, I think she was 2 months old. You're going to know who I'm talking about. But her mother was homeless, and she went into the foster care system too, and she was actually failure to thrive. They didn't think this baby would live. And now she's a 4-year-old little girl who is just amazing. She's doing totally fine. And you would never know that, 4 years ago, she was failure to thrive. So those are the stories, you guys, that keep my staff loyal to me. It's our vision, and that is our vision. That was when we really understood our vision and what we were doing. We realized that the work we are doing is so much bigger than the money we make. At the end of the day, it just means so much more to us than how much I can pay. And so, yeah, I'm sure my staff would love to make more money too. But let's see, Alana says, our experience helps us be better. Yes, absolutely. And yes, she is smart. Our little girl is super smart. But that's what really keeps them, because the work we do is so much bigger than a paycheck. We're really changing lives. And even if you don't care for foster kids or anything like that, the work you do is still, you're still taking care of the most important asset in the world. We're taking care of children. So when you make that clear to your staff, and you really help them to understand why we're here, it's amazing how that unifies you, and how you guys become like family and just stick together through the thick and the thin, because it just really solidifies that there's some things that money can't buy. And, if you went and I know most of my staff could go and easily make double what they make right now. But at the end of the day, what are they doing? Is it changing a life? And right now what we do does make a difference. So that's when I realized that is really, if I'm going to summarize the key to my employee retention, that's it. My staff understands, but it takes work for me to make sure my staff understands why we do what we do. So let's see. Amber, oh, you have a foster child? Yes. And he was so sad when he came in. He loves it there. And he cries. Yeah, taking care of foster. And you guys, I don't know, for some reason, your longer comments, when I try to read the whole thing, it's not letting me. So like Amber's, yours got cut off for me. But it is fulfilling though, don't you think, Amber? Like, it's hard when they first come in and you know what they've been through. But it is just, when you see that turn and they finally start giving you hugs and they're not scared anymore, and they're secure with you, it just makes it so much more fulfilling when you know that you've accomplished something. So, and for those of you who don't care for tough kids like that, you can still find that fulfillment. I mean, I'm sure you guys have kids where their parents don't care like they should, or they're just neglectful, and you guys can make those kids to your mission. And of course, every child needs to be our mission. I mean, even the ones who have all the love in the world and who have the perfect home still need us, right? Otherwise, they might be at some neglectful babysitter's house who isn't taking care of them. So just really think about, why do we do this? And when you and your staff understand that, it is a game changer. Suddenly everybody, it just starts working towards those higher quality standards, and just really wants to be more a part of your team. So the one thing I have to say about that is you have to keep reminding them, though, because I know there's times where I forget. We all forget, right? And so it's important for us to work together. Like my director now. She was my assistant, but now she's my co-director. Her and I always kind of go back and forth and watch each other's back, because when one of us starts to burn out, we know that it's time for us to kind of pull each other out and just remind each other, why are we here? Why do we do this? And we always joke about how, okay, if both of us go through this at the same time, we're in trouble. So we kind of keep an eye. And now Alana is part of our management team, so she can help us with that too. But just really keeping us focused on why, and keeping yourself focused. Those days that you just want to quit because you can go to a warehouse and make triple the money sometimes, just remind yourself, look at those kids, go into a classroom, sit down with them, let them pile on you, and remind yourself you're there for them. And, you can bring them the best quality. And that's why you're there, to bring the best you possibly can into their lives. And some of those parents really need us too. So, during the worst economic times we had here, that's really what kept us going while the economy was really bad, was just reminding myself, where are these kids going to go if I'm not here? And what are we going to do? So that was really a big deal for us. So, let's see. Amber lost us. She just messaged me and she can't find me. I don't know how to let her find me. Hi, Anna. How are you? So what other questions you guys like? Or would anybody like to suggest some topics you guys would like to like me to feature on the podcast? So again, I told you guys the first 3 I've already uploaded. I know the third one I just did, it kind of seems out of order. I did When It's Time to Let Your Employees Go. The next one that I will be coming out next week is going to be employee retention. And what else do you guys want to hear about? And I do have some interviews coming up. I have an interview, like I was telling you, with a consultant up in Washington, and or actually she's in Canada, but she can actually go into Washington also. And that is an awesome interview. She talks about curriculum and developmentally appropriate, what are best practices. We have a great conversation about that. So what other issues do you guys want to talk about? Like, we could talk about where to hire. Let's see. So let's see, life and slow down a bit when we open, right? Yes, life will slow down, I promise. I don't know. I say that now. I don't know. I loved, for a while, I think I got a little obsessed with that opening process. I've done it 4 times altogether now, and I just kind of got addicted to it. I think I'm an adrenaline junkie, but I know my staff wants me to buy another center right now too, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do that right now. But at the same time, I really want to. So right now, I only own 1 center, and it's really nice just to focus on the one. But there's another part of me who's just like, oh, I need another one. So we'll see. I really like doing this too. Ooh, ProCare is awesome though. I'm so glad you got ProCare. I'm sorry for those of you who don't know, I'm talking, Anna just typed in, I got ProCare today. ProCare is great. And I can tell you guys, ProCare has wonderful webinars. If you go to their tech support webpage, they have fantastic pre-recording webinars. I know you guys are ready for another center. You guys are nuts. I can't understand. The pressure it takes to open a center is insane. I think you're addicted to it too. So Alana has worked for me for 11 years, and she's been through, oh gosh, how many have you been through with me? 3 to get all together. And they're pushing for me to open another one. So, but right now, I don't know. I'm doing this, and so it's kind of a nice little rest from that kind of craziness. But yeah, you're going to love ProCare, and it does everything. Once you get it going, it will do so much for you. If you really learn how to utilize all the tools. Sometimes there's so much that it can do that it's a little bit overwhelming. But once you get it really into play, it can really, really help you out. So you'll love it. And definitely take advantage of those webinars. There's a ton of pre-recorded. You can watch them whenever. It is really, really, really nice to have. And then also if you call them, they will do live trainings with you, just one-on-one live trainings. They have amazingly wonderful customer service. Anytime I've had a problem, they've just jumped on, helped me out, and just basically walked me through everything. I called them all. I actually just called them last week for something silly, I'm sure, but I can't even remember what it was. I call them all the time for whatever. So they're wonderful, very personal. Still, it's a bigger company, but it's still small enough that you can get a hold of a person all the time. Yes, Alana, I know we need to save more kids. Yeah, but where you guys want to open it, it's not going to be like it is here. You don't know where to start. I would set everything up first. Like I would start off by programming it, set up your pricing in there, set up your classrooms in there, get it organized first, set up your teacher, like it'll have an area where you can categorize all your teachers. I would start with just making sure it's set up properly and categorized correctly. And their owner's manual is awesome. If you just follow it, it's very easy to understand, very brief. I'm one that has to skim through everything quickly. It's really great. But yeah, if you have everything set up in ProCare before you start and really launch, it'll make things so much smoother for you. So I think in the home screen, if you go in and your configuration, just set up everything that your configuration asks for, your hours, everything. It will make your life so much easier. So it is an awesome, amazing program, and I highly, highly recommend everybody getting it. One of the things I would recommend too with ProCare that I didn't do for a long time that I wish I had is if you have a website, you can set it up for your parents to make payments on your website. And it literally has a parent portal. You can also set it up for parents to enroll online. You can, so basically the parents just enroll online. They still have to print out the form and sign it, but it will save you so much time and energy from having to type in every single enrollment. It'll just populate everything for you. So that's nice, but you definitely want to get your signatures just to make sure. And then I also have a signature page. I make my parents sign with my policy. It's a summary of my policies and procedures, just even if they do the ProCare one, just to make sure they know that all my policies and they're acknowledging those. So, can I do how to partner with parents? You mean on oh, that's a great topic. Yes, we can do that for sure on a blog. Yeah, I can do a podcast episode on partnering with parents. That's something we've gotten really good at. That we have in the last, oh gosh, year and a half, we started what we call our Leadership Advisory Committee. And it consists of a couple of our teachers, my administrators, and a couple parents. And we meet once a month, which we meet tomorrow night, by the way, Alana. Tomorrow night is our meeting. And we just basically come up with topics. Like right now, we'll talk about the holidays and holiday planning. And we just hash things out. It's like a think tank for the center. And it has been a huge benefit for us. And it's really cool because you can hear the parents' perspective. I can hear the teacher's perspective. And that would be awesome. Yet onboarding staff, that is something definitely I'm going to be doing. I'll do, I think I'm going to write that one down. Onboarding staff. I will definitely do a topic on that. I was telling everybody earlier that I am revamping my new hire training. It's good now, but I just got an idea on how to make it better. I'm actually stealing another organization's idea. So we'll see. I just went through I'm going through a training this week that is phenomenal. So I want to format my new hire training in the same way that this training is formatted. So I'm going to change things up a little bit, but I will definitely do an episode on onboarding. That can be very stressful for staff when you have a new teacher. I mean, the classroom environments are so fast-paced in childcare, and it's really hard for them to take that time and train. So that's something I can definitely do. One of the things I've done that seems to really help is I have two specific teachers who are really good at training my staff. So I kind of focus on them for the first 2 weeks. I have people go to them, and then we've trained them on how to train. So let's see. I'd like an episode where you discuss being a certified instructor for some of the required courses. Okay, I can do that too. Certified. I'm sure I'll be able to go through these. And for those of you who don't know, I am a trainer for the state of Nevada. So with the state of Nevada. So that's something definitely I can talk about on how to get certified. And also, I guess, for me, what would be important from my director's brain is making sure that your staff is going to the right trainings. I think there's nothing worse than when your staff goes to these trainings and they bring back these ideas that are awful. Any of the directors out there, have you encountered that? It just really sucks when, your staff is excited and they bring this stuff back and you're just like, no, that is awful information. You cannot do that in my classrooms. So that's something I've gotten really picky about, is where my staff is getting trained and who is training my staff, and how to pick out good trainers that actually know what they're doing. I think one of the big issues I run into is outdated educations, like trainers who graduated in the 80s and they're still training things that are just pretty outdated. So yeah, that's something I can definitely. Anna, I was thinking about doing onboarded videos in a password protected part of my website. Yeah, that is an excellent idea. And I can actually send you, I'll message you my new hire training that I do now. What I do right now is I've basically made a summary page, and my new hires get it every day for 30 days. They get a page, right? And what it does is it's questions that it just says, ask your co-teacher what this means, what the, and it literally just leads them through, and they have to, it just leads them through a discussion with whichever teacher I assign the training to. So that's what I have right now. But what I want to change it to, so Anna, what I was telling everybody earlier is my husband started dialysis yesterday, and we are going through the company DaVita's dialysis training, and the training is phenomenal. It was so easy to understand. I could just see how it's equipped for anybody. And so I want to format, I'm going to take the training I already have and put it in that format. And that's pretty much, a lot of it is video. It's a little bit of a mixture. I think they're really trying to focus on everybody's learning style. So some of it is just reading, some of it is video, but there's pictures for everything. And one of the things I really like, and one of the things we joke about all the time is common sense is not so common, right? So they show pictures of things like, okay, which one of these is really clean and which one isn't? And, a normal person, we would think like, oh, well, yeah, of course, this is clean enough. But I've learned after managing childcare centers for over 15 years that it's not so obvious to everybody. So that's something I definitely want to incorporate is just a lot more pictures. Right now, my new hire training is a lot of discussion. I want my lead teachers basically walking my new hires through, and it really just leads them into, okay, discuss this, now discuss this. And then my lead teachers, they've been trained on what to answer and what to say. But this, I think, is much better, and it'll take a lot of the pressure off of my lead staff. So I think that's one of the things I wanted to do too is, and it's funny you say that because I just actually sent my release packet off to my lawyer to have them make sure that I can videotape my classrooms so that I can revamp my trainings to do video. So, and also that's something I'm going to be sharing a lot of too is since I'm having my lawyer change my release so that parents know that I will be videotaping my classrooms, and then whichever parents sign off on it will be posting trainings and different things on the webinars I'll be doing that have actual live video footage from my classrooms. So hopefully that'll help. And just, I don't know, I was even thinking about staff meetings and different things and having some of my teachers on also just to get their perspective. I think as owners and directors, we really need to make sure we're hearing all perspectives. So just hearing from the teachers, hearing from the staff, hearing from the parents, and even hearing from our children. We can't leave them out of that equation. So what other questions do you guys have for me, or anything else you want me to feature on the podcast? And then in January, I will be launching a webinar series. So I'll be doing a lot of things in January. I'm been basically working on transforming all the forms I've created over the last 12 years so that I can put them up on a website for just to share with the public. I've pretty much created my own system over the last 12 years, and every time a problem comes up, I write a process for it. So that's something I'm going to be sharing, and I've been working on writing like just, how-tos on each form I have. I also have a policy for everything. I can guarantee it. If it's happened in the last 12 to 15 years, I've written a policy. What we do basically is if something works, we turn it into procedure and we write the process for that. If it doesn't work, we just get rid of it. And so we revise it with time. And I can pretty much guarantee if you guys have a problem, I've got something written up about it. After that many years, you see almost everything. I'm sure there's something out there I haven't seen. Anything out there you guys think I haven't seen? I would love to. It's kind of fun. I don't know. Sometimes we see some new stuff. You just never know in this field, right? But I'm sure, I know Alana, you're still there. I'm sure she could tell you some of the things that we've pulled out of diaper bags and, what do you do when you pull a bag of weed out of somebody's diaper bag? That kind of thing. We've dealt with it. So some of the most crazy things. So what other questions you guys have? Do you have anything else for me? Did anyone get to hear the podcast today? Any suggestions? I know on that third one, my audio was awful. There was points where the audio just gets really bad, but the content was really good. So I didn't want to, and I had already re-recorded it once. The first time I recorded it, I don't know what I did. I saved it wrong and it was gone. So that was the second time. So I'm like, okay, I can't be perfect. I just got to let it go. I've been taking some training classes on how to do this podcast, and that's one of the things the trainer keeps saying is he's like, you can't be perfect, just let it go. So I just had to tell myself after listening to that one, oh my gosh, it's awful, but I have to let it go. So, well, I think I'm going to end that here then, unless, let's see. Oh, and I've dealt with lots of principals. This is just all new. Yes, I've never had to deal with parking lots. I can tell you. Yeah, I totally agree with you. We had ours sealed. Oh, not last year, but the year before. It's crazy. The things that you never think that you're going to have to deal with that turn out to be such a pain, right? You know what? The other big one is the light poles in the parking lot. Changing light bulbs on a light pole in the parking lot is crazy. We're in a rural area. So the last time we had to change our light bulbs, we literally took my RV, backed it up to the light poles, and Alana, who's watching the video on here, climbed up onto the top of my RV and changed my light bulbs from standing on my RV. So yeah, it's insane. The things that you didn't realize you'd ever have to deal with, you're just suddenly like, are you serious? Just, yeah, wait till the sink falls off the wall. One is burned out now. Yes. You're going to hate those light bulbs. I'm telling you. There's nothing like every year. It's just like, it's something with those light bulbs. I don't know. My pet peeve, right? But yeah, just wait. We've dealt with it. So when you have an issue, just message me. I'm sure I've gone through it. And if I haven't. So for those of you who don't know us, interesting tidbit. We are in a small town of Nevada, and which I can tell you guys, if you think of Vegas as Nevada, that's not what 90% of Nevada is like. It's very rural, very cowboy, very Old West, and our center has pet pigs. So we actually have our honey bee ham and our crispy bacon. Those are our pets. They're the school pets. So we've been through a lot, and I can tell you it's definitely unique. So if you guys have any questions about school pets, we've probably done it. We've had many horses to present, but we haven't had a horse. But yeah, we even have pigs. So we've got a lot of stories between all of us. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for podcast episodes too, just write it in the comments or message me, and or critiques. I love critiques. I love getting constructive criticism, and I'm fully aware that I cannot grow without criticism, so I'm totally open to it. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope everybody enjoys it, and please rate my podcast and like it. iTunes kind of shoves me to the bottom. Even if you go and search my actual name, they will literally push me to the bottom if I don't get enough ratings and subscribers. So please subscribe and like it. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm always open to help. That's what I'm here for. So have a wonderful night, everybody. Bye.